stability, fixed exchange rates, low inflation, access to European markets, and they are not entirely wrong. CFA countries have lower inflation rates than some of their neighbors. But here is what else is true. When you need to import medicine or build infrastructure or invest in industry, you need permission to access your own reserves, and that permission comes from Paris. Example 2, the US dollar dependency. Now even countries without a CFA franc face a different trap. Most global commodities, oil, wheat, copper, are priced in dollars. So if you're Nigeria, for example, selling oil, you get paid in dollars. Then you need to buy Chinese equipment, but China wants yuan. So it actually means you convert dollars to yuan, losing money on both conversions. Or you are Kenya trying to import Indian pharmaceuticals, but the trade is denominated in dollars, even though neither Kenya nor India are the United States. It's like anytime you want to buy something from your neighbor, you first have to exchange your money for your landlord's money, pay him a fee, then buy from your neighbor, or who then has to do the same process in reverse. Why would anyone design a system like that? They wouldn't, not on purpose. It just evolved after World War II, when America was 50% of global economy and most trade flowed through New York and London. But Africa in 2025, that system doesn't fit anymore. Now let me show you what this costs, because numbers matter than emotions here. According to the World Bank's 2024 data, sending remittance to sub-Saharan Africa costs an average of 8.5% per transaction. That's the highest in the world, not because African banks are inefficient, but because every transaction has to route through correspondent banks in New York or London. And that's not corruption. That's just how the pipes were built. And here is where it gets worse. In August 2025, the Trump administration passed what's called the One Big Beautiful Bill. Buried in there is a new 1% tax on cash-based remittances. Money orders, Western Union type transfers starting January 1st, 2026. Now, to be clear, this only applies to cash-based transfers. If you send money through bank transfers or card payments, you are exempt. But here is the problem. Millions of African diaspora workers don't have easy access to bank or wire transfer services. They use Western Union, MoneyGram, money orders at corner stores. So let me give an example. A domestic worker in New York sending $500 back to Nigeria per month, she already loses $42 to the 8.5% transaction fee. Now add another $5 in tax. That's already $47, nearly 10% of what she's trying to send home. And that makes approximately $570 per year. Just gone. Now, if you are already losing 10% of your money just to send it home, and someone offers a system where you lose just 1%, what do you choose? That's what's making alternatives like SIPs suddenly very attractive. Now, it isn't ideology. This is math. Between 2020 and 2024, the Nigerian Naira lost 70% of its value against the dollar. The Ghanaian Cedi down 60%. The Zambian Kwacha down 55%. Now, some of that is bad governance. Nigeria subsidizing fuel it can't afford. Ghana overspending on debt. These are real failures on African leadership. But some of it is structural. When global interest rates rise in Washington, African currencies crash. Not because Africa did anything wrong, but because capital flows back to dollar assets. Kenya's dollar reserves in early 2024, $6.8 billion, enough to cover about 3.5 months of imports. Now that's right at the danger level. one bad harvest, one oil price spike, and you are in crisis. Now, Egypt's reserves dropped from $45 billion in 2011 to under $15 billion by 2023. So what do you do when you keep on scrambling every time for dollars just to keep your economy running? You borrow more dollars, which means you need even more dollars to pay back the loans. And now sending those dollars home costs more than ever. It's a trap, not a conspiracy. A real trap, and for 60 years there have been no exit door. October 2024, Kazan, Russia. While Western media was focused on who showed up to the BRICS summit and who didn't, something else was happening. Countries were getting access to a different system. Not better necessarily, not perfect, just different. Now, two things launched, or more accurately, one launched and one exploded. Now, the first is BRICS-Pay, a new payment platform. So Russia was actually the country that was behind this push. You know, it was kicked out of SWIFT after its intervention in Ukraine. Now, the BRICS-Pay was designed by Brazil after its PIX system, and the goal was to let member countries trade directly in local currencies. Now, secondly, we have the CIPS, China's cross-border interbank payment system. It's been around since 2015, but in 2025 it hit critical mass. As of June 2025, it connects 4,900 banks across 189 countries. Now, according to China's People's Bank, CIPS processed $12.7 trillion in the first half of 2025 alone. That's real money moving through real pipes. Now, let me be clear. This isn't a savior story. China is not riding in on a white horse to rescue Africa. They are building infrastructure that serves their interest, just like the West built infrastructure that served their interest 8 years ago. The difference is now there are two doors, two sets of pipes, two options. It's like living in a town with one grocery store. That store can charge whatever it wants, because where else will you go to? Then the second store opens. Suddenly both stores have to compete. Prices drop, service improves. Now that same logic applies here. So who is actually using this? Let me show you how fast African countries moved once the door opened. Kenya, October 2024, announced $3.5 billion of Chinese debt will be restructured, repaid in yuan, not dollars. Why? Because yuan interest rates are lower, and Kenya doesn't have to burn through scarce dollar reserves. Now, Kenya's central bank's data from June 2025 shows that the yuan now represents 5% of foreign reserves. 3 years ago, that was basically zero. But here's what's interesting. Kenya didn't abandon the dollar totally. They still hold 60% reserves in dollars. So they are diversifying, not switching. Ethiopia, October 2024, it started talks to convert their $5.38 billion Chinese debt to yuan repayment. Now, Ethiopia is broke. The IMF say their debt is unsustainable. Yuan conversion buys them time and lower interest costs. Egypt, July 2025. The Central Bank of Egypt signs agreements with China to settle bilateral trade in local currencies. Now, they are also exploring panda bonds, yuan-dominated bonds sold in Chinese markets. Now, this gives Egypt access to Chinese capital markets without needing dollars first. Nigeria, December 2024. Nigeria renewed a currency swap agreement with China. 15 billion yuan, that is about $2 billion. Now, this means Nigerian businesses can exchange naira for yuan directly. Now, I was talking on the phone with a fabric trader in Lagos last month. She imports textiles from China. It used to take her 1 week and cost her 6% in fees and conversion costs. Now with the yuan option, she does it in 2 days at less than 1% cost. Now that's not geopolitics, that's a woman trying to run her business. South Africa, June 2025. The Standard Bank and the African Import-Export Bank became direct participants in CIPS. They can now clear transactions without intermediaries. Standard Bank operates in 20 African countries, so this isn't just South Africa, it's Pan-African infrastructure. Notice what's happening here. These aren't ideological moves. African governments aren't saying we hate the West, we love China. They are saying we have options now, let's use them. That's different. Alright, so everything I just described looked pretty good, right? Lower cost, faster transactions, more options. But let me complicate that picture, because if I don't, I'm doing the same thing Western media does when they only show one side. Complication 1. The new dependency. Now, if you are paying loans in yuan, you need to earn yuan. How? By selling to China. Ken Dichenga, Kenyan economist, said something sharp. The sustainability depends on how much African countries can export to China. Translation: your debt repayment now depends on China's appetite for your exports. If China's economy slows or they find cheaper suppliers, or trade patterns shift, you are stuck. So yes, we are escaping some dollar dependency, but are we creating yuan dependency? Maybe. Complication 2. Governance still matters. Having access to cheaper financing doesn't mean much if your government wastes the money. Ethiopia got yuan debt restructuring. Great. But Ethiopia also printed money to fund a civil war, which created inflation. So having alternative payment systems doesn't fix bad governance. Zambia defaulted on Chinese loans, not because the yuan system failed, but because Zambian leadership borrowed money more than they could repay. There is an Igbo saying, "Onye wetara udele, nelugwe kwa oga achu, ebe oga arokwasya." It means the person who invites a vulture to the sky must find a place for it to perch, meaning you can't blame external systems for internal failures. Complication 3. Data surveillance. When payments move through CIPS, Beijing sees the data. Who is trading with whom? What's being bought? Supply chain details. Now the West sees data through SWIFT. Now China sees data through CIPS. Is that better, or is just different surveillance? So let me bring this home. For 65 years, African countries have had political independence, but not financial independence. The CFA franc tied 14 countries to France. Dollar dominance meant non-CFA countries needed Western approval to participate in global trade. The IMF and World Bank loans came with conditions written in Washington, not Nairobi or Accra. And look, some of those systems worked. The IMF saved countries from complete collapse multiple times. Dollar stability allowed countries to plan long-term. Western markets provided export destinations. Now, this isn't a story with heroes and villains. But here's what's different now. For the first time since independence, African countries can say no thank you to terms they don't like, whether from Washington or Beijing, because there is something else to go. That's what matters, not yuan, not BRICS pay, not even CIPS. The ability to say no. Now, it's like when you're negotiating a job offer and you have another job in your pocket. Suddenly you can push back on salary, on conditions, on everything. But if you are desperate and they know it, you take whatever they give you. But here is what I think matters most. And this is where the real opportunity is. All of this, BRICS-Pay, SIPs, alternative systems, only matters if African countries use these moments to build their own strength. The African Continental Free Trade Area, Pan-African Payments and Settlement System, stronger regional currencies, intra-African trade that doesn't need dollar or yuan. So the goal here isn't to pick new masters. The goal is to stop needing masters. Okufa kuka zosa, gokufa kuka ntu. That's an African proverb. The death of one is the death of all. We are interconnected. African integration isn't just rhetoric, it's survival strategy. Because 65 years after independence, maybe it's time African money worked for African interest. Not because the West is evil, not because China is the savior, but because we deserve the same thing every other region has, which is the ability to shape our economic destiny. I also want to thank all our members. If you haven't joined our membership, I don't know what you're waiting for. So I'm shouting out to our members right after this. Now, quick shout out before we continue. To everyone who have joined the Strategic Lens, thank you. Seriously, you are the reason I spent weeks digging into stories like this instead of following algorithms. You are the reason we can tell African stories without watering them down for sponsors who don't get it. This kind of analysis, it takes time, research, pushing back on easy narratives, and you make that possible. If you haven't yet joined the channel, please hit the join button or click the link in the comment section. I'm going to drop the link of our membership in the comment section. You get early access, behind the scenes, breakdown, and you help us keep doing this work. Alright, back to the story. Look, there is a bottom line here. October 2024 opened a new door. 185 countries can now route around the traditional financial system. For Africa, this is significant. Cheaper transactions, more choices, less begging for dollars we don't have. But the real victory won't be we use yuan now instead of dollars. The real victory will be when we build African systems strong enough that the rest of the world has to ask us for permission. So here's what I want you to think about. What would it take for African currencies, African payment systems, African financial infrastructure to be strong enough that we are not choosing between Washington and Beijing, but making them compete for access to us? That's the conversation I want to have. Drop your thoughts below. Are you optimistic about these alternative systems? Worried about new dependencies? Somewhere in between? And if this reframed how you see financial independence, if you are thinking about dollar dying headlines, share this with someone who needs that perspective. Because 65 years after independence, maybe it's finally time our money come home. I'm Asongwe Luis. You're watching Africa Today, and this is the Strategic Lens. I'll see you in my next investigation.
Give me an example.
I can give you several, like investing. Like, you're telling me.
Give me an example.
I can give you several, like investing. Like, it, because it ain't happening over here, buddy. But when you go and you say, I don't know what that means. How does investing really work? I don't know where to get it. Now you're a part of the right kind, but you get there by being the dummy in the room. And now look at what I'm able to do.
Kevin, it took 13 years from where you did your first stand-up to you having your moment. But why didn't you quit?
Because of the lessons that my mom gave from being very scarred from my brother. So let's go back. I grew up in North Philadelphia. My brother sold the drugs. My dad was always in jail, out of jail. And my mom wasn't gonna let that happen with me. So we had an agreement. I had a certain amount of time to make comedy work. And in my mind, it wasn't gonna be hard because there was no other option. I will figure it out. So I was driving from Philadelphia to New York every day. I wasn't coming home until 4 a.m. I was doing 25 to 28 sets a weekend. I worked that for a very, very long time. And the struggle left you with days of, what am I doing? I cannot pay my rent. This, man. But my mom's biggest lesson was you're not quitting. And not many people are going to do the 13 years of hard shit. Most people opt out at year 2 and want to go find a quick return. Or you keep quitting to start something else that you think is the idea. It's just a cycle. You're never completing anything. You got to make a choice of the thing that you're going to do and finish. I made the choice that stand-up comedy was what I was going to finish. Because if I focused and did it well, that would open up the doors for me to do everything else that I want to do.
But they say that you can't have everything in life. So what is the cost? Have you struggled with your mental health? And what advice have you got for young men in terms of like what it takes to be a good man?
It's a weird thing that's happening where the definition of a good man is so foggy. It seems that in this time today, more men are being forward, wanting to express and talk, but the fear of being judged after.
Do you have that fear?
I see messages all the time in the comments section that some of you didn't realize you didn't subscribe. So if you could do me a favor and double check if you're a subscriber to this channel, that would be tremendously appreciated. It's the free thing that anybody that watches this show frequently can do to help us here, to keep everything going in this show in the trajectory it's on. So please do double check if you subscribed. And thank you so much, because in a strange way, you're part of our history and you're on this journey with us. And I appreciate you for that. So yeah, thank you.
In so many ways, you're clearly an anomaly. For you to be the way that you are, there must be some kind of early context that people need to be aware of, a certain wiring or a cauldron that has sort of shaped you into who you are. What is that context that I need to understand?
I'm a very driven individual, and I'm driven off of ideation. I like the fact that you can have thoughts, and if you're in love with the thoughts that you're having, you can be energized to bring those thoughts like into a bigger reality. That's the real fuel to the brain for me.
Do you think at the very core of you, that's what's motivating you? Because
absolutely,
that's like a process, but the outcome of that is success in all its forms. It's material success.
Or failure. I mean, like, there is no success without failure. They go hand in hand. And with the failure comes amazing lessons, adjustments, and you get sharper because of the shit that you've done wrong or that you didn't know to approach a certain way that you now know how to approach. So I embrace the concept of failure just as much as I embrace the win of success.
Had I met you at 10 years old or 15 years old, how similar would you have looked in totality?
Not even close. Not even close. Not motivated to do the things that I didn't want to do. Not a good student, kind of fucking off school, the opportunities that come with school, the extracurricular activities that I didn't want to do that I was doing that my mom made me do. Hanging out was the thing. Hanging out was the luxury, it was the fun, and it wasn't available. My mom was strict. So I didn't have the luxury of doing all those things, which is why I wanted them more.
I found this photo of your mother.
Yeah, me and Nancy Hart.
She was strict.
Very strict. With me. My older brother, he had a little more leniency. He freedom, he curfew late at night. But my brother did all of the other stuff. My brother sold the drugs, did the smaller tiers of crime and stupid shit as a teenager. To where my mom felt like she wasn't gonna let that happen with me, so she was much more protective. Because of the mistakes she saw that she made with my brother. You see what I'm saying? So I got the short end of the stick. So I didn't have the curfew. I wasn't able to go hang out. I wasn't able to do all those things. So that's why I wanted that so much. So I rebelled in the spaces where you have to do this. And I was like, well, you don't let me do this, so I don't want to do this. So I kind of fucked off a lot of those opportunities.
And your father?
Henry Witherspoon, Spoonie G's, my guy. A fuck up in the eyes of most, but my dad, he didn't necessarily do the right things in life. Gang, crime, all of the shit, jail, in jail, out of jail, drugs. That environment that we were raised in It's not like, you know, the best environment for anyone, but it's an amazing environment for those that live in it because it's all we know. And the normalcy is the low. My mom strived for the higher side of it. My mom was education, degree, trying to get another degree, trying to get a master's. My mom was like always wanting to get better, always wanting to educate herself more because she felt that it was the biggest strength that nobody could control but her.
And they separated?
Yeah, they were never married.
Never married?
Never married.
And did they physically separate at a certain point?
I mean, I think my dad only lived in the house with me in like my really younger years. Like maybe from like 5 to 7, maybe 8 if I can remember. Like I didn't grow up with like my dad home. You know, so when my mom was like, fuck that, you're out of here, it was over. Like my dad, he was a weekend dad, or every other weekend dad, or during the week stopped by. Then he was in and out of jail. Then he got on drugs. We didn't see him at all.
How did you understand that as a kid? Like, how does a kid understand the dad coming and going, being in jail, drugs?
You are a product of your environment, and in that environment, that's the norm. So when you say like, how did you understand that? Well, nobody had their dad,
Yeah.
right? Like all my friends, our dads, like we see him when we see him, and we love him because that's what we thought that it should be. It's not like I'm going over a volume of homes where I'm seeing the father sit with the family and the mom, and they're doing dinner and they're having conversations, and they're, you know, it's this happy household. I only had a couple of examples like that. I remember when I went over one of my friend's houses from the swim team, and I remember he had his own room. It was like crazy. You get to close the door and shit? Like, this is your space? Yeah, this is my room. I had a hallway. We ain't had no goddamn room. We had a hallway. My bed's in the hallway. You could always see me. This is where I am. Me and my brother right here in the hall on these bunk beds. My friend had grass. He had a backyard. I was like, this is fucking crazy. Yeah, we don't have none of this where we live. So because that is the norm, it never affected me, right? Like I was never taken back by the obstacles of our household. My mom and dad just didn't get along and it didn't work. All right, it is what it is.
Did you have male role models at the time?
I don't think that I was in the space of no when it comes to role model. Like at this time, like I didn't have the mindset of what a role model is or should be. I just had good people around me who acted as like parenting aides to my mother to help her because of her schedule. But I never remember at that age looking at other families like, oh, this is what I want and this is what I'm striving to get or gain, you know? Like it was shoulder shrug, a lot of shoulder shrugs. It wasn't until I got older that I think I know the lessons that my mom was kind of laying down started to click in differently.
I mean, one of those lessons that your mother was trying to lay down can be seen
in the Bible, 1000%.
With this. There's a...
Best story ever. Best story that I'm able to tell.
She put something in the Bible that's hanging out there, as you can see.
Checks, man. I couldn't pay my rent. I cannot pay my rent. I needed help. And she was like, well, I'm not helping you until you start reading the Bible. And I was like, no, I'm reading the Bible. I was lying. Just lying. No, I'm reading it. Come on, Mom, this is real. Mom, they're gonna kick me out. Are you reading your Bible? Yes. When you read the Bible, then talk to me. And she did this for like a while. And one day I was like, you know what, man, I was really by myself. And I was like, what am I gonna do? So I really did this Bible. So I read the Bible and I opened the Bible. And like my checks, rent, like multiple months of rent checks that fell out. And I was like, you know what? It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. And then I had to actually open the Bible and and start reading the Bible. But that was her way of course, knowing that I'm lying, first of all, and B, giving me like one of the best lessons ever, you know. Somewhere along the lines, the gems that she dropped started to click, and the idea of not starting things that I'm not gonna finish, that's what really resonated with me the most. So like, I started a lot of stuff that I didn't complete in the younger years. That was me and my mom's battle. No, you're gonna finish it, and she would make me finish it. No, I wanna quit. No, you're gonna finish it. So I ended up doing a lot of things with an attitude, which is why I half-assed it. But then as I got older, you realize, well, why are you putting time into something in the beginning that you don't wanna see through? Why? Or just because you have like a rough moment or a rough patch, why is it so easy for you to quit? Why is the idea of quit so quick to you to come up with, and why are you so comfortable with the results of that? I shouldn't be, and that shouldn't be my like motto. So we don't stop. If we start something, we see it the entire way through. And at the end of it, even if you don't like it to the highest level, you know that you put your time, energy into something that you're at least proud that you did, proud that you were able to put a period on that sentence. And now you can start the next thing. But it's not until you complete something that you can honestly sit with yourself and go, that's what life is. That's called seeing things through the entire way.
What was it that changed in you? Like, what happened that made you suddenly start to take opportunities more seriously?
When you saw the opportunity, you fucked off. I remember my big dummy moment, and I've had a lot, so I don't know how much time we have to go down, but I got a lot of dummy moments. But my biggest dummy moment, we hooky school to go and have our senior day. We go to Great Adventure theme park on the East Coast. And there was a moment where we're done and we're talking, we're like eating and hanging out, and all my friends were talking about the college that they were going to go to. And they had already been accepted. They had already had letters and shit. When did y'all do this? When did everybody apply? When did you guys take the SAT? I took mine, but I rushed it because I wanted to get here. I wanted the hooky. Wait, how do you guys know where you're going already? I had no knowledge, no idea. All my friends went on to the next stage. They let me be the dummy by myself. And that's when it dawned on me that, like, nobody cares about you more than you should care about yourself. And nobody is giving you the roadmap to like the wins. You have to go find that information. You gotta go discover it. You gotta want to get it. You gotta want to do it. And with the right help, the right word of knowledge, it can better help position you. But ultimately, you gotta want to do it. And me and just not wanting to do shit kind of put me in a really fucked up position early on.
Was it finding the thing, your thing, that hit some wind in your sails and made you more of apparently into a motivated individual? Because at some point you go from being that Kevin to the Kevin that can't stop working.
Yeah, well that was my light bulb moment.
Okay.
My light bulb moment was, look at what not applying myself got me. I feel like the dummy that doesn't know what he wants to do with his life. And now I'm at community college. I'm working as a lifeguard. I eventually went to go work for City Sports, which is a sneaker store. And I remember when I started working at the sneaker store, talked about this for years too. I was like, oh man, this is cool. This is what I want to do. I got the thing that I want to do. I was so excited that I went and got a job, found a job. I'll do this forever, and I'm going to make it to the highest level so I can have a career. So I become the manager, and after being the manager, I work for corporate. And this is something that I can build. Like, I was already inspired because I was like, I had to figure out what I'm doing with the rest of my life. What is my life? Now I'm panicking. And I was flourishing in the space of sneaker sales, right? Education and college degree I don't have, but in the space of personality and sale, I was able to maneuver. This is it. This is my calling. That's where the real beacon of light presented itself through ideas of my friends. You should do stand-up because you're funny. You should try stand-up.
Do you remember where you were when they said that to you?
In my workplace. I'm working every day. I'm on the floor.
And a colleague of yours at work said,
Alice, colleague of mine that I work with.
What did your brain think when she said that? Was it just blowing on a fire that was kind of already there, or was it lighting the fire?
No, I think the fire was lit. Like I never thought about pursuing stand-up comedy prior to. Like the idea came up. I was always funny, but I wasn't like, man, I got to figure out how to become a comedian. That was never a thought. I knew that I was very funny. I knew that I was entertaining. I knew that I could make people laugh. I love being the center of attention. I love the idea of a stage and a light. But that wasn't the thing. I wasn't like, I got it. And this is what it's going to do. It was presented, and then I went and did the amateur night, and that's when I fell in love.
Why did you like the stage and the light? And why did you like performing?
The laugh.
Why?
There's nothing better than to laugh. There's nothing better than being on stage, having the bright light, and the only energy of good that you're able to take away from what you're doing is the laugh. Ha! 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 Hearing people laugh, I was like, oh shit. That feels different.
Why?
This is energizing. This is like...
How does it make you feel about you?
I feel like I'm doing a service of good. If I can make people feel better, if I can brighten up your day, it's a service of good. That means I'm like a shepherd of some sort. I am responsible for making people feel better. Oh my God, that means in success, I can bring people to one destination. Everybody can share a moment and a laugh and all relate that it came from me. Oh my God, this can get global. This can get bigger. Well, this is starting to change now. Oh wow, wait, this has opened up doors for me to do this or that or this or that. It all started with the laugh. It all started with the stage.
So you went to that comedy show. I was looking at some of those early clips of you performing. It's funny because I think this is the early 2000s.
Okay.
But I mean, you probably...
Oh my God, Caroline's. Caroline's, this right here, my best set in the beginning of my career.
Everything I said for you tonight is a joke, okay? It is nothing else. I don't want nobody taking none of this stuff too serious.
I don't want nobody coming up to me after the show saying, who's the funny one now? Yeah. Yeah. That tape. So that was when, you know, the thing I needed was a tape. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I needed the tape was so that I could send it to the other comedy clubs so that they can have an example of me, my talent, and then dictate or judge if I can get a live audition in person.
And how old are you at that point?
Oh my God, right there, I'm like 18, 19.
That's crazy.
18, 19 years old.
Because that clip is so funny. I watched it this morning and I was dying.
If you could understand the feeling of getting off that stage, having a good set, and then them putting the tape in my hand, it was gold. I got it. I got a good tape. I got to go make copies of my tape, and I just got to send them to everybody. I just used to, because it was value. It was value. Started getting in comedy clubs, started getting auditions, started getting more. Oh my God, Kevin's up for an audition, movie audition, casting directors, they all got that tape. Everybody got that tape.
From that period onwards, from 18 to, let's say, to your early 20s, you were, at this point, a very motivated individual. You were working hard. You're focused.
Very.
And what's when you speak to your mum and your dad at this point about comedy, do they think that's a serious career?
My dad, not as much, because I didn't really talk to my dad through these years. That's when my dad was kind of dealing with his world of issues. My mom, we had an agreement. I had a certain amount of time to make comedy make sense and figure out a way to support myself. If I didn't do it, then I had to go with my mom's idea, which was education and getting a job while getting my education. My plan didn't involve college. I'm out. I'm done. I'm done. No more community. This is what I want to do. I got it. I've never been more excited about my future. This is it for me. How you gonna make your money, Kevin? I'm gonna figure it out. How you gonna figure it out? I'm gonna figure it out though. I'm just gonna go down to the comedy clubs, and I've been winning the amateur nights. I think the amateur nights can help me pay for my rent because I was winning the amateur nights. I won a bunch of them in a row. In my mind, it wasn't hard. It wasn't gonna be hard because there was no other option. All my eggs were in this basket, and I was very happy with that choice. I put every last egg in this thing. Nothing else matters but this. I promise you, I will figure it out.
Can you draw me a picture? If your career was a graph, okay, so I'm going to say here is 18 years old and you're 46 now. So you're 46 now. This is the axis of this graph. And on this axis, we have, let's say, success. And on this axis, we have age. Can you draw me a line that shows if your career was a graph, how
success
it went?
and age.
I'm
Okay,
so here is 18
success
years old and
for
you're
me,
46 now.
Knowing what I want to do in life,
now. This
comes
is
here.
the
Right?
axis of this
now figuring
graph.
out
And on
how to get to like money, revenue, just supporting yourself through telling a joke. Man, let's go here for a second. We flatlining, okay? Like I'm making people laugh. I'm getting in some comedy clubs, but you only get paid with food. But then something weird happens where you start figuring out, oh wait, here's kind of where the spots come in. I can make money on the weekends and I can get $20 to $25 a spot. So rather than doing one spot, I would do, let's just say in a weekend, I got to the point where I was doing 25 to 28 sets a weekend.
Wow.
Well, I started making $500 a week, $400 a week.
How many years in is this that you started making 500?
18, let's say 22.
Yeah.
So I was driving from Philadelphia to New York every day. But because of that, now you got to get into a comedy festival. All right, so now let's start to go here because we did these spots for a while. But then I got on a comedy festival. Oh shit. I got on a comedy festival. That's when the industry saw me. Who's this new guy? Who's this guy with all this energy? Who's this fucking guy? This guy here, he's got something. All right, so I started meetings, general meetings, and now I get a holding deal. So let's go up a little bit. I think it was ABC. They gave me like 250 grand. So they're holding you in hopes that they get something. Nothing happened. So we're flatlining here. Now I'm just waiting for the phone to ring. That's how this works. What if I want to create my own thing? Create a show. Oh my God. Show gets picked up. I create something else. They decide to do it. Oh shit, there's a pattern. I can do that as much as I want. I can treat that just how I was treating the spots and stuff in New York. I'm out. I'm moving to LA. No plan, no nothing. Flatline. I'm here. I just did it. I just came and moved out. Fuck, man, this is weird. I don't like this. Work. I'm not getting no work, man. This shit is real stagnant. I'm going on the road. I want to work the road. I'm going to be a headliner. I'm going to do colleges. So I'm going to get college money and comedy club money, and I'm going to do it. I worked that for a very long time, right? Very, very long time, to the point where now I'm selling out comedy clubs. After I started selling out comedy clubs, my person at the time was like, yo, we can probably do theaters. You're adding a lot of shows.
Are you a millionaire at this point?
No. I'm just an active comic. The next stage of success, right, was let's go from comedy clubs to theaters. All right, boom. Let's go here, then let's go up again. Theaters start selling out real quick. Oh, fuck. Let's go from theaters, right, to like arenas. Oh, shit. Will Packer, he was like, I got this book that I want to make a movie. It's called Think Like a Man. Steve Harvey wrote it. I think you're funny as hell. I've been tracking you on tour. I want you to be the star. We film it. Think Like a Man comes out. Think Like a Man did $90-something million in the box office. And Will says, hey man, working with you is great. Let's do something else. I got this movie called Ride Along. You and Ice Cube would be great. Boom! Ride Along does 140. Like the movies just started to pow, 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 pow. Get Hard, Central Intelligence, Me and the Rock. I mean, it just happened so fast. So now, because the movies are working, I'm like, this is so cool. But while this is happening, I should figure out like how to kind of create my own source of like opportunity. Like people keep bringing opportunities to me. How do I create my own source of opportunity? I'm gonna start a production company. I need to start developing. But now I'm like, I created that, let's create something else. So then I say, let's go like Heartbeat Ventures and let's do a VC. Oh man, I'm creating a bunch of stuff. Hey, these entities around me, it's all happening because my likeness allows me to get in these rooms and start relationships and put myself in a position to make deals and create long-term revenue. How do I get more of that? Wow. Like NASCAR, people attach themselves to the car that they think is doing the best. I'm a car. I should have brand partnerships. Chase, DraftKings, Fabletics. I should have my own brands and businesses that I'm building where more opportunity for long-term revenue can present itself. Gran Cormino, wine, spirits. Now, oh wow, I've grabbed this concept of business control ownership and mirrored it with Kevin's drive and entertainment and visibility, leverage that to get me into the rooms where I may not be as visible or as strong, but once I'm embedded into these environments, I can bring them value. I can help amplify or uplift their brands, their products. So my case study of Fabletics, of DraftKings before I got there versus after I got there, Chase, financial literacy, like C4, like these are things where I'm now, well, I'm not just a partner, I'm an owner, I'm an endorser, I'm an ambassador. Oh wow, this is where the real money is made. The ecosystem of life. How do you put yourself in a position to be a part of everyday movement in life? You're looking at things at a much granular scale. And now I go way back here to when I was like not really focusing, not thinking about life, not thinking about how things connect. I'm now able to tap into the lessons that my mom gave. And I'm like, all good things that happen when they're supposed to, but now I'm poised and polished enough with a mindset that understands, well, I don't want to start something that I'm not going to finish. So if I'm going to put myself in position to do these things, how do I make sure that my partners know I'm willing to give my all? How do I show that I'm not going to quit? Which back here, my mom's biggest lesson was you're not quitting. If you start it, you're going to finish it. So how do I make my partners that I'm now saying you should work with me? How do I make Netflix secure in knowing that when you get me, you get 100% of me and that I'm never going to quit. I'm going to finish it all. How do I make my other studio affiliates understand and working with Heartbeat, it is in my best interest to bring you great product, great material so that you understand what we do so that we can continue to drive a business that has the best interest for both of us. How do I sell you on that? So now my business of sell mirrors and matches my business of grow. Nothing that I'm doing doesn't go hand in hand. And I should be able to embed the products or the partnerships that I'm now operationally like attached to into the ecosystem of entertainment. So if I have a C4 can and I'm doing an activation and health and wellness, well, C4 is my partner. I should integrate you in this opportunity. Hey, my movie, we have an opportunity to basically wear a product. I should be in Fabletics in this scene because this makes my partner feel valued and positioned. Oh, wow, this is what I do. I elevate. I basically navigate my space of ownership in a way like only I can to elevate my partners so that my partners go and say, you're different, this is different, and this is what we need more of. That's my graph.
I've got some questions about the graph. So I guess the parts that I'm curious about are this initial period when you're 18 where like nothing's really happening.
Nothing.
Because so many of my listeners, probably most of them, are in some pursuit or sort of professional endeavor in their life in this kind of stagnant moment where maybe they enjoy it, but like it ain't paying the bills.
Yeah.
No one believes in them. Maybe some of their friends are rolling their eyes when they tell them what they're doing.
Yeah.
When you look back on this season of life, like what is that season and how'd you get through it?
Nobody believed that I was funny when I said I was going to be a comedian. Like, they were like, you funny, but not comedian funny. Like, my friends were, yeah, but what do you mean you're going to get on stage? What do you mean? I'm going to get on stage. I'm going to be a comedian. Yeah, but like, how? Like Eddie Murphy. Like, I'm going to be a comedian. Yeah, but you're never going to be Eddie Murphy. Yeah, I know, but I'm saying like I'm going to do it. Like, I'm going to be a star. No. I don't know, man. I don't know about the whole star thing. I think you're tripping. I don't think that's it. Nobody has the confidence in the decisions that you're making for yourself like you do. So if you're waiting for that to connect in the beginning stages, it may or may not. If it doesn't, it shouldn't prevent you from like following through on whatever the line of like go is for you. The money is never coming fast. We're in a time today where this generation has found ways to make money in an entrepreneurial manner that we've never seen before. Like the social media machine and how this generation navigates that machine to find revenue and to own is unbelievable. That didn't exist. We didn't have that. Like in my time, we didn't have that. We just had the struggle. And the struggle left you with days of like literally sitting in the living room going, what the fuck, man?
So why didn't you quit? Because no money, everyone's doubting it. What were you believing in?
I was believing in the idea that I finally found the thing that I want to do.
So it was passion that was really you were anchored to.
I found the thing that I want to do. And I'm not going to quit it because I love it this much. And I strongly believe that the sun is at the end of this dark tunnel, but I got to be willing to get there. And I just don't know how to get there yet, but I'm going to figure it out. That's why I'm going to LA. I was in New York, but after New York, they say go to LA. I'm gone. What you going to do when you get there? I'll figure it out. I can always get on the plane and fly where I got to go for stand-up if that's the case. I can always go and make money doing stand-up if I have to, but I'm not going to get to the star. That's why I'm going by just doing that. I was in New York. I got to go there. I got to get close to it. I'm gone. I got to smell it. I got to feel it. I got to find out where the people are that are trying to do it too. I got to get acting classes. I got to get around the Hollywood. Like, what is Hollywood? I got to get there. And what happens when you're there, it fuels another appetite of hunger. Because I'm there and in real time, I'm seeing people better. I remember, I tell this Cat Williams story, and I don't even think I told Cat this. There was a moment where I was opening for Cat Williams, and I remember being at the BET Comedy Awards, and I'm in attendance, and this is like, you know, I'd had a couple of shots at some things, but they just, you know, the things weren't sticking. Like the The pilots that I thought were gonna hit weren't gonna hit. The things that I thought were gonna happen, they just weren't. It just didn't seem like it was adding up, right? Like the roles are little small roles or little small cameos, but like it wasn't the thing. And I remember Cat Williams' set during the BET Comedy Awards. He had like a leopard suit, destroyed the Comedy Awards, destroyed this moment. And audience goes crazy, stands up. I remember being in the audience and I was like, that's it. I said, like, that's the thing. That thing, that reaction, that roar, that moment, I gotta be patient because my moment is going to come. I witnessed his moment. And he, after that moment, it was Friday After Next, he went on and started to do crazy things in his career, right? But I witnessed the moment. And in that moment, my takeaway was that he was ready for the moment. His material, the jokes, everything. It all hit. And I didn't watch it in a manner of like jealous or angry. I was like, that's it. Like he's probably out of here after this. I mean, it's the BET Comedy Awards at the time. I'm like, this is the biggest thing ever, right? This is the Comedy Awards. By the way, they never did the Comedy Awards again. I think this was like the last one that they did. But that moment, if the ball is dropped in that moment, then the moment goes. You don't know when the moment is presenting itself. But I'm staying with the thing because I know that the moment is going to come. And when I'm in the moment, if I knock that fucking moment out the park, all things will change. But you may not know it. You may not know when the moment comes.
When did your moment come?
Shaq's All-Star Comedy Jam. The reason why I equated with the story with Cat. I believe it was Tommy Davidson. It was D-Ray. Cedric the Entertainer was the host. I headlined it. I end up having one of the best sets that I've ever had. And at the end of the Shaq's All-Star Comedy Jam, I say goodnight and they do like a slow motion walk-off. It's a slow motion thing, and it's like I'm walking, the crowd stands up, and they're going crazy. By the way, I don't know the slow motion walk-off is gonna happen in the edit of the special, but I remember in real time, crowds standing up, stars were there. Everybody was there, right? And in that moment, show you how fucking crazy the world is. This is why I hate that, like, me and Kat went through our stuff and we're much better now. I'm gonna show you how the world aligns. Kat was in the audience, the Shaq's All-Star Comedy Jam, and Kat was watching the show. He was just there as a fan, but at this time, everything big is happening. And I had a moment. And that was the moment that then took me and shot me out the cannon. And if I wasn't prepared for the moment, then I wouldn't have known all the things to come. Okay, but that then set up, I was releasing my special Seriously Funny, I was taping in 2 weeks. So Shaq's All-Star Comedy Jam goes, they rush to put it out, it crushes. I then tape my comedy special. Seriously Funny was my next special. Seriously Funny destroys, but it only destroyed because of Shaq's All-Star Comedy Jam and the audience that watched that. And I was like, oh my God, this guy showed up in droves for Seriously Funny. And then Seriously Funny was like, oh shit, this big ass special. And then the arenas and everything, boom, 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 boom.
So about 12, 13 years from the moment you did your first sort of stand-up event to you having your moment. Mm-hmm. And I find that fascinating because those 13 years, most people aren't willing to do something for 13 years without their moment showing up. Mm-hmm. Like when you hear like, I don't know, shit on Instagram or quotes or you watch motivational videos and stuff, if they told you that it would take 13 years for you to have your moment, almost nobody would take part.
Nobody, no.
And those 13 years of your training?
I mean, so Scooter Braun told me one time, he was like, what makes him different is the work that he's willing to do in something. And he was like, you know, if they were giving out like $1 million for somebody that can hit a fastball pitch, you know, from the best pitcher in baseball, right? And this thing would basically require everybody's going to go and try to hit this because everybody wants the $1 million. So the first day of the announcement, the line to hit this pitch is going to be droves, right? Like probably millions of people. Who knows how many people will be in this line? And people will go up and strike out. And after that, they would go, damn, it's over. Like, I missed. Not many people would like miss and then go stand back in line to go hit the ball again. He was like, I'm going to keep getting in line. What you'll find is that the line will get smaller and smaller because of how many people are dropping out and optioning not to wait and do the hard thing again. That comparison and that world of understanding is like something that equates to life very well, right? Not many people are going to wait through the 13 years of like bullshit, hardship. Most people opt out at year 2, maybe 3, no money, whatever. I need to figure something else out. Year 6, fuck this, man. Stupid. What am I doing? Why am I doing it, right? I'm going to go find the quick avenue or the quick return because money is that's what it boils down to for most people. Where's the money? Where am I making the money? When the money comes, it comes. What you find is that it's not hard to make money. Once you start making money, you learn how to make money. Like it comes with education, it comes with understanding, and it comes with a better resource of mind that makes you go, no, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna meet, I'm gonna present, I have an idea, I'm gonna pitch it. Like you're now a much better machine because you understand. Money is no longer the thing that you think it was when you get to it. But getting to it, to get that understanding, you lose the pack. You lose the pack because the pack is like, I want it here. And because it didn't show up here, I got to go figure out a new thing to do that's going to give it to me here. And they got to recycle, like...
They lose focus.
Yes, you're never completing anything. You never finish nothing. So the thing that you think you're focusing on, you keep quitting to start something else that you think is the idea, and it's just a cycle. It's a cycle.
Don't you notice that people come up to... I notice this a lot with young entrepreneurs, especially those that aren't having success. They start one thing. When they come and tell you what they do, they tell you 17 things. 17. None of them have ever worked, but they say 17 things. And they think that doing more things is increasing the probability of success.
1,000%. Where it's the opposite. It's the opposite. It's the thing that you actually thought of that you are going to put 100% of your mind and focus into to complete. And then after that, you're able to pick it apart and take the good, the bad, the whatever, and either restart that thing again to improve it, or make a decision to do something else, but you finished. I made the choice that stand-up comedy was what I was going to finish. I made a choice that becoming a good comic and a good headliner, if I focused and did it well, that would open up the doors for me to do everything else that I want to do. If I don't have that, how do I expect to get in?
I was speaking to Evan at Snapchat and he was talking about T-shaped people. So you have like a broad understanding of a lot of things, but then you're like really deep on one particular thing. And that one particular thing is almost, I guess you could see it as like screw that gets you into the industries. So for me, mine would have originally been marketing, but I was able to use that like deep expertise to then launch this media business because it's still the same game of marketing that I did for 15 years. I was able to go into like the stock market because they really needed to understand marketing. And it was that deep expertise in one thing that was my leverage in all of these really interesting rooms. And it's kind of what you were saying at the start. Like you had this deep expertise, this deep IP experience value that allowed you to like break in as an investor and then to production and all these other areas.
I mean, the value for me, it was self. But the value of self and understanding of how to truly control and operate that and navigate that correctly, that's a world.